This is New Jersey. For most of us, our earliest experiences with education begin at home with our parents. Before what seems like a lifetime of learning in classrooms, there are the first lessons in our living rooms. Our moms and dads are our at-home teachers, and for the kids of educators, teachers are our moms and dads. I was a teacher's kid. My world was always all about learning. And so I have this interest, understanding, and appreciation for them. Teachers, I mean. And my mom. Same thing. Adele Rogers retired in 2000 after teaching in 5 decades and in the same classroom and school for a quarter of a century. In 2011, she lost her educational mentor and best friend, her husband. He was a teacher and a principal and professor. It was announced shortly after that she would be honored by her town for her years of service to the children, for a lifetime of lessons. I only have one regret, she said upon hearing the news, that he couldn't be here to see this, to see a teacher honored in this way. We followed Mrs. Rogers back to her old school to visit after being away from home for a decade. And just like a teacher, she brought a child, her granddaughter, to tell her the stories and to offer one more series of lessons.
You can't read the name? That says Oxy Elementary School. Some people have trouble with that name. This is the same, my goodness, look, erected 1962. We didn't live down here then. In fact, my son Tim hadn't been born yet. Your Uncle T, he was born in 1963. But all those names are all the names that I remember. Wow. My goodness, that's nice. That's nice. Hi, I'm Adele Rogers, and I taught school here at Oxycoca School starting in 1976. And I have 4 children, and 2 of them were in this school at the time. Oh, can you find my name on that? I don't know if it's... See if you can find my name. There I am.
Like now, since you saw her right
This is Adele Rogers. What's the year?
1991 to 1992.
Yes. And in February 1977, I became a full-time second grade teacher here at Oxycoca School. Let's walk down. This is where my good friend Hazel. And I loved my kids, no matter what grade, whatever year it was, I always had a wonderful class. And I think children are very perceptive. They were able to know that I cared deeply for each and every one of them. And I had a favorite song. I would always start each day the same way. I would walk into the classroom, and the children would all sit down, and then I would sing, "I love you, a bushel and a peck." And I would walk around the room and sort of do this to each one of the children, and they loved it. They felt loved, and I really did love them. And that was the way we started our day every day. Shelves for all the books. they have a puppet. I have a puppet at home. Do you remember my puppet's name? You don't remember Rolf? Oh. I have Rolf. When I tell... Do you know Rolf? Sure do. I'd like to meet Rolf. Well, someday maybe I'll come down here and read to the boys and girls. Oh boy, that's great. Okay, well someone's coming into the library right now, so I guess we're going to have to leave. I don't know what your name is. Do you know what his name is, Willow? This puppet? You're a little different from what I had when I read stories to the children. But I read with Rolf in your classroom, remember? During Dr. Seuss Week? Yes. Okay. All right. You can put me down now. Okay. All right. Oh, look, they have some other things here. I've always found that there were always some children who would have a difficult time getting along with other children. And then I would be a little bit of a preacher and use that quote about you wouldn't want someone to do that to you, and you shouldn't do that to anyone else. And I was brought up, I was raised that way, that my mom and dad had my sister and I, and we knew that that was the way to behave, and it was a good way to teach as well. I lived by that quote my whole life, that if you want someone to be nice to you, then you have to do the same thing. You have to be a good person and show other people that you treat them the way you want to be treated. Eileen Francis's second grade. It no longer is, but this was... Actually, I wasn't thinking about being a teacher. I wanted to be an artist. My dad brought home all kinds of pencils and paper, and he taught me how to draw cartoons, which my granddaughter is now doing, and I was pretty good at it. Sidewalk chalk. Being a teacher actually came later. In high school, I think. I decided that that was something I really wanted to do. And of course, I always wanted to teach the little children. I didn't have any desire to teach the older boys and girls. I really liked kindergarten, first and second, third grade, but that's as far as I wanted to go. What's your name? I don't know, but that little girl took me off my shelf. What's your name, little girl?
Willow.
Oh, that's a pretty name. What's your name, lady? Mrs. Rogers. Oh, seems to me I remember Mrs. Rogers here years ago. Many years ago. Oh, I wish you were back. I like it when people take me off the shelf and play with me. Well, I like playing with you too. Okay, mind if I give you a little nuzzle? Oh, look at that, Willow. Okay, Willow, you put him back. Thank you. But this was my room right here, number 10. And I have my name at home. They let me take my name. And that's home.
How does it feel to be back today?
A little melancholy. The school is not the same as when I was here then. And a lot of my friends are now retired, just like myself. And we remain friends, and we go out for dinner or lunch once a month. And it's really nice that we have a connection like that yet. And I was here for 24 years in this classroom and loved every minute of it.
Well, I'm loving this one now.
Is this your first year in here?
Second year.
Second year. Oh. Yeah, 76. But coming into the school, there's still a lot of things the same, but not the same. I went to my classroom, and the walls and the chalkboard is still the same, but it's not my classroom anymore. But it was fun coming in and seeing what it was like now. And this sounds like I'm bragging a little bit. I don't mean to, but it sort of tells the story that I enjoyed every minute of what I did in my classroom. And we always celebrated Grandparents' Day. Well, I had two little girls. They were sisters. And I had the older one. And her grandparents came in for that day. And the children put on a little display, and I taught a lesson and showed them exactly or a little bit of what I would do with their children or their grandchildren on a daily basis. And they left, as all the parents and grandparents did. And then the second granddaughter came into my classroom. And they were lovely children. And we had Grandparents' Day that year too. And they watched and enjoyed it. And the children asked their grandparents questions about school and what did they like about school, etc. And they asked their grandparents about what they liked about school. And then when it came to an end, these two people came up to me and they said, "Mrs. Rogers?" And I said, "Yes. We're Mr. and Mrs. and grandparents of Nicole and Danielle. And we have one regret." And I said, "Really, what's your regret?" And he said, she said, "that we don't have any more grandchildren that will be in your second grade." So, it makes me feel kind of sad. That was a lovely compliment. And it's true, I never did see any more grandchildren from that family, but I followed the girls, and I saw the parents and the grandparents occasionally when I would go shopping, and that always came to my mind how much I was appreciated, and not because I was showing off, but just because I really enjoyed what I did. And the children knew it, and their parents and their grandparents knew it as well.
How does it feel to like be here and over my shoulder at the school you used to taught at?
Oh, amazing. I feel like I'm back home.
When my mother, Mrs. Adele Rogers, taught second grade over at the Oxycoca School, she had a small box that she would take out and tell her students there was something very special inside. She would tell them that, in fact, it was just about the most special thing in the whole world, on the planet, and that each one of them would have a chance to look inside the box and view this most special object. Guesses would range from diamonds to jewels to treasure, and then individually each student would be called up and they could peek into the box. In the bottom of the box there was a mirror. As each kid peered inside the box and saw their own reflection, they each made the realization that they themselves were the most special thing in the world. I think that lesson best exemplifies my mother's greatest strength as an educator, her ability to make each child feel special and unique and loved. When people come up to me and tell me how they had my mom as a teacher and how much they enjoyed being her student, there's one thing that always comes up, and it's how she used to sing A Bushel and a Peck to her kids. Well, Mom, I love you, a bushel and a peck.
This is presented to Adele Rogers in grateful appreciation of your deep roots in Manahawkin and your many years of dedicated service to the community. Presented by Mayor John Spadafora and the Stafford Township Council, June 9th, 2012.
I couldn't follow my son, and everything he told you is exactly right. I mean, I came to school every day and loved every minute of it, and some of my students who are married and have children tell me that they still sing A Bushel and a Peck to their boys and girls, their children, so I've left kind of a legacy here in town. But I thank you very much. I feel very, very special today. Thank you.